Hello, would you like to look at some beautiful books together? I haven't got them in any particular order, I'm sorry, although I try and keep series together. So these are not all the books I've bought so far this year, but what I consider them as beautiful ones, and if you are interested in beautiful books, you might want to check these out. I will put information below about whether they're still available from the original sale place. So hopefully you don't have to resort to just immediately going to resellers online who will put a huge markup on a sale even if the book is still available at the original shop, which is my pet peeve about the internet. And I'll try and keep this short because there is 40 minutes until the cat's bedtime. So if you hear them in the background, they're telling me to hurry up and stop babbling. So this is Doomsday Book by Connie Willis. This was purchased through the Broken Binding, the science fiction subscription. So it won't be available for general sale yet, unless they have leftovers, I guess, during the annual sale. But this is what the spread edge looks like. It has a alternative cover, so this kind of lighter summery one, and then a much darker, more nighttime version of the same image. Here's the naked foiled hardcover, and it has illustrated end pages as well. I'm always impressed by the Broken Bindings attention to detail and production value, considering the books aren't that expensive. I think it was £35 for this subscription. It's a book every 2 months, and that includes shipping. So the science fiction subscription focuses on older sci-fi titles, so not new releases. Then to a much more recent, very new release, Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. The sprayed edge on this one. Very cool designs. Nothing on the hardcover. This will definitely still be available at Waterstones. So yeah, this is the Waterstones edition, but honestly I think even the standard edition is really nice. This is a, well, judging by the title, this should be about a descent into the underworld, so it seems like it's going to be a very labyrinthine, complicated route that our hero has to take. Next, let's go with a book that I don't actually even remember ordering, Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. Edge. End paper. I'm always in two minds when they put human characters in the illustrations. Yeah, I have no idea what it's about. I don't remember ordering it, but apparently I did, and this is the Fairy Loot edition. So I'll look that up and see if it's still available and put it below. This, back to an old, very old title, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This I bought in Copenhagen. There's a whole series from this publisher with sort of marbling end papers and sprayed edges. All classic titles, but this was the one that appealed the most. If these clips are out of focus, I'll put still pictures of the sprayed edges. Then the next batch of Agatha Christie's was released in this style by HarperCollins, and then they had a autumn sale which was 50% off, so I got half a dozen titles. This is my favourite design wise of the bunch. I'm a sucker for Art Deco, so, and these particular colours, teal and bronze, I just think are gorgeous. So no sprayed edges, but my favourite design of this batch of books. And this is the first one from the past affair I have actually read. Then folio fans might recognise this. Haven't even opened it yet. So this is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, one of my top books of a few years ago. This is a cut-out slipcase, which is pretty cool. The front and the back. Gold on the top of this one, but not any of the other side. So that's a very classic style of binding. No decorative end pages. But inside we start to get illustrations. There were a couple of titles in the latest folio releases that were tempting, like The Night Circus and A Canticle for Leibowitz, but I find their price point just too high for my tastes, particularly when you compare it to Fairy Loot, Illumicrate, Broken Binding. They all release titles I really like and are interested in, but for sometimes half the price of folio. And I know they are an investment piece as well, but I've got other things I need to pay for. Then another one I've read since purchasing it, so this is Voyage of the Damned. I bought this second-hand on eBay. This is an Illumicrate edition. There were a whole variety of special editions released for this title, so you can pick a design you like, basically. This is the end paper. It's the ship that the characters are travelling on in the book. We can get murdered tomorrow, tonight we party. Pretty much sums it up. I think I gave this 5 stars. Then this is a Broken Binding book, but not from subscription. Hang on. The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I think they've done a second printing of this, so it is available if you don't care about first printing, second printing, that kind of thing. Here's the edge. End papers are scenes from the book. Did I give this 5 stars? Might have been sort of 4.5, something in that region. No, you can't go outside. Sorry, baby girl. The cats really want to go outside, explore. It's 8:30 and pitch black outside, so absolutely not. One of the things I like about Broken Binding is they clearly do their research by having the sprayed edge a different design to the main cover. Oh, I forgot to see if this was... That was not foiled, so I don't know if this will turn up on camera, but there is like an embossed design. And the reason I bring that up about sort of the extra step of making this artwork completely different to this is because it brings me on to my next set of books. Which are the gorgeous, let's put them in the right order, Howl trilogy. So, Howl's Moving Castle, Castle in the Air, and House of Many Ways. These are the Fairy Loot editions. But the point I was trying to make, badly, is that the cover art is the same as the sprayed edge. It's just a miniature, slimmed down version. Just check I'm not exaggerating, but yes, all 3 of them have the cover art repeated on the sprayed edge. So it's not a whole separate scene from the book. Just makes me, when it is a separate scene, it just makes me feel like they've put a bit more attention and effort into crafting the book. They've deliberately thought what can go on the cover, what can go on the edge, what can go on the end papers, as you know, an end paper front and the end paper at the back as distinct pieces of art, rather than sort of slight kind of copy and paste where they've invested in one big piece of art and then they just reuse it on the edge as well. Not that that makes them any less beautiful, but I just prefer that little extra bit of effort. These two I haven't even taken out of the shrink wrap yet, because when I read them there'll be rereads, so I'm not in any rush. But they are Red Seas Under Red Skies and Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. So books 2 and 3 in the Gentleman Bastard series. Check the end papers. Yeah, okay, let's not be lazy, let's do that now. These are a classic example of I was talking about the problem in that these were not new releases when I bought them, so they were plenty in stock in the shop. They were £75 each. Alexa, what's 3 times 75?
3 times 75 is 225.
So if you were to buy them directly from the shop, they'd be £225. But if you look at resellers online, even though they're still in stock, they mark it up. Oh yeah, so the end paper is a map. Oh, that's nice. Now I have to open the third one to see what the art is. Were they 75? That seems like a lot. Am I making that up? They don't have the retail price on them. I'm going to check that. Maybe I've added 2 together or something like that. But they are anniversary editions and they are signed. So the end papers on this. Very nice. And similar but slightly different artwork. So that's now this edition of all 3 of the books that I own. And if you could only get around to releasing the 4th book, that would be great. Thank you very much. And now, bottom of the pile, 3 more that I haven't unwrapped. So this, I think they're all broken binding, yes. So 2 are from the subscription that I mentioned. I was really umming and ahhing about taking out another subscription for, they've got what they call the sci-fi and fantasy subscription, which is going to be new release titles. Whereas the one I've got is only old titles. So I was really in 2 minds about it, but I decided not to in the end. So, Tomb of Dragons by Catherine Addison. So this is the, can you see the design? Yeah. This is the 2nd book in the Chronicles of, no, this is the 2nd book in the Cemeteries of Amarlo, but the 3rd book in the Chronicles of Ozareth. So this will go nicely with my copies of the Goblin Emperor and Grief of Stones. I had to buy the Goblin Emperor through Vinted, of all places actually, because it was the only place where there was a reseller and they weren't charging an arm and a leg. But it did come as a bundle with Witness for the Dead / Grief of Stones that I already own. So now I have 2 copies of that book. Here's another book I've already read. even though I haven't unwrapped it, because this is the kind of thing where I could have skipped this book when in the subscription because it's a book I've already owned and read, but I do love this book, so having a beautiful copy was no hardship. This is So, The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. Have they done a reversible jacket? Nope. But here's the foiling. And the end papers. Which is colouring. So this won't be available because it's subscription only. I do wonder if when they have like an end of season sale, whether they'll include those books. Final book. But it's quite heavy. The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. I had never heard of this book. I think it's got quite good ratings online, and that's one reason to be subscribed to this kind of book box, is that they will find sort of hidden gem titles for you, particularly in this case when they're only going for backlist titles. I love a bit of green and gold. This is a very nice shade of green. Kind of forest. Front end paper and back end paper. This is where I get intrigued about like what is going on in this scene. Not one sparrow can fall to the ground without your father knowing it. Ah, there's something religious going on in this book. Sounds it. And that is it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of my most beautiful recent book purchases. You know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but hopefully you agree that these were beautiful. And have I tempted you into buying any of them? So let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these I've already read, so half. That's not too bad, considering these were all purchased this year. Oh, meow! You're so sad. You can't go outside, and it's 15 minutes till bedtime. 15 minutes till snackies. I haven't even had my dinner. I don't know how I feel. Can you say goodbye to the people? That's him saying goodbye. Thank you very much for watching.